it's well known that Jethro, or the father-in-law of Moses, goes by at least 7 names. I would say that it's more like 10 that I've been able to piece together. And I'm going to try and use this source, which is from the Gate of Reincarnations, very popular Kabbalistic source. Um, I'm going to try and prove that this Sismai, the friend of the father of Soko, is referring to Jethro and Moses, using evidence from other texts and the Bible itself. So what you're looking at here is the list of names from the Bible who come from the original like Canaanite soul, which you can see here. And it's an amazing list of names. If you really take a second to check it out, it really lets you know how significant this line of Cain is and the reincarnations of that soul. So you can find Jethro here. You can find some other big names on this list as well. But let's focus on Sismai, the friend of the father of Soko, because this is, I think, a hidden reference to Jethro and Moses. So let's look at the list in Hebrew here. So we saw right before that Heber the Canaanite is on the list. Heber the Canaanite being Jethro or one of his sons. And then Yael, the wife of Heber the Canaanite, is on this list as well. And I've pointed out in the past that this name, Heber or Haver or Hever, is the name that Jethro and Moses share. They both go by this name, as we'll see shortly. But then when you go down, you see Sismai, the friend of, which is just happens to be the exact same spelling as this name, Heber. You can see here, exact same. So Sismai, the friend of the father of Soko, which, Jethro and Moses were really good friends, and they happen to share this name. And it's very interesting to me that here we have the friend of the father of Soko, but when you look at it in the text, there's a person by this name, Heber, the father of Soko. So let's look up Sismai, and you can find him maybe the only time in 1 Chronicles 2 here. And Sismai begot Shalom, which means peace. It's very appropriate that you would find Sismai here in 1 Chronicles 2, because you can also find the Canaanites in this same chapter. So the families of scribes that dwelt at Yabetz, these are the Canaanites who came from Hamath, the father of the house of Rechab, who are the Rechabites. Now notice this, the families of the scribes that dwelt at Yabetz, these are the Canaanites. Just so happens that Yabetz is also on our list under a different name, Othniel ben Kenaz. This is Yabetz. So he is also on this list. And it's also appropriate that you'd find Sismai in this chapter, because then you can also find one of Jethro's other names, which is Yetr, which is the short form for Yitro. You can find it multiple times here. And we can see that Yetr is one of his names. So is Jethro, Ruel, Heber, like I said, and Cani. Remember that one as well. Cani being Canaanite, which again, we found him on the Canaanite list right here. So these are the names. Remember Yetr especially, and Heber and Cani. So now let's go to 1 Chronicles 4, and you can see Yetr again in verse 17. Very interesting to me that he would show up right here, and then one verse down in verse 18, you'll see all the names of Moses. So, and his Judahite wife, which I don't think that's exactly what it says, but it works. bore Yared, father of Gedor, Heber, the father of Soko. So again, this is very interesting to me because here we have Heber, the father of Soko, as you see it here. But then when you look at the actual Hebrew of our list here, it has Heber, the father of Soko as well. But here it's referring to the friend of the father of Soko. So you can see there's a clever little play going on here. Okay, so we're at the father of Soko. So what happens when you click on this verse? And there's actually another hint that this is referring to Moses. All these names are referring to Moses. These were the sons of Bitya, the daughter of Pharaoh, who married. And you'll remember that Bitya was the daughter of Pharaoh who found baby Moses floating in the basket on the Nile. And she herself became a monotheist, washed herself of the idols of her father's house, and turned to one God. And she, of course, raised and named Moses. You can see when you click on the verse and check the Talmud entry, they're saying that all these names refer to Moses. He was called Heber because he was connected to the Jewish people, because he connected the Jewish people to their Father in heaven. He was called Soko because he was for the Jewish people like a shelter or a sukkah and shield. So very interesting. We know that Jethro and Moses share this name Heber. They're saying that the father of Soko refers to Moses. And we have this guy Sismai who is connected to Jethro. So now let's see if there's anything in Gematria that kind of backs up my case. So if you take the father of Soko as the value 345, which is the exact same value as the name Moshe or Moses. So we do have a link in Gematria between the father of Soko and Moses, which the Talmud says all those names are referring to Moses. Now what about Sismai? Is there anything in Gematria that would line him up with Jethro? Sismai has the value 170, which just happens to be the exact same value as Caini or Cainite, which we pointed out Caini is one of Jethro's names. So there is a connection in Gematria between Sismai and Caini and Jethro. So Sismai, the friend or the Heber of the father of Soko, clearly this is a reference to Jethro and Moses. And it makes a lot of sense that Sismai would have the same value as Caini or Cainite, because here you find him in the root list of Cain.